Hello and welcome to Will Watches. This is Squid Game episode 3. So we're back in the game now. I really enjoyed last episode, getting the backstory for all of these characters and really building up some of the emotional stakes. And I'm excited to see them back into the games now and wondering how many people have actually returned, because there was 201 who left. How many have actually returned to the games? And I'm hoping they've all kept the same numbers, because in my notes I've been keeping track of the numbers of different characters, and if they've changed the numbers now it's going to be very confusing for me. So hopefully it's all still the same. So before we jump into this, be sure to check out the Patreon. Over there you can find early access where we'll be 2 or 3 episodes ahead. You can find polls so you can vote for what's next, and you can find full-length timer-based reactions where you just sync up your own footage so you can watch along with me if there's anything that was cut out from the YouTube edit that you wanted to see. So yeah, let's just jump into Squid Game episode 3. Back into the games, but of course we saw number 67. She is still awake. Oh, and this is the police officer following them. They've driven that long into the night, 3 AM. Lim also noticed they're being followed though. He's following very close, isn't he? Mujin Port. Do they get like shipped off to like an island or something? Like the whole thing on an island, that would make sense. And he's seeing how big an operation this is, all of these cars. He's sneaking in. Is he gonna sneak in as a contestant? I don't feel like he can. They have too much info on the contestants, right? They'd see him and say, you're not like part of our list. Yeah, it makes sense if they're on an island, because maybe there could be some legal technicalities that the island isn't part of Korea, so they can have their own laws there. It's like sea laws instead of having to obey the actual laws maybe. And of course, if it's on an island, if people try to escape, it's a lot harder. But he's being pretty heavily monitored, isn't he? Player inspection. I mean, this must be like where they take their phones and everything. Oh, they've all been like chipped or something. You see him sweating. He's gonna take this guy out and then go undercover as a enforcer. I still don't know what to call these guys. He needs to start blending in though, rather than sneaking around. Yeah, I was wondering what he was going to do, throw him off the edge.
저 배멀미 때문에 상급자의 허가 없이 먼저 말하지 않는다.
Yeah, he's already drawing attention to himself, but they have no way of identifying each other, right? So is that guy just dead? Zoomed in on the button being undone on his uniform for a second there. I wonder if that will be some significance. Oh, yeah, she's only pretending. So she's got a knife on her.
영감님. 영감님.
You can see he's concerned with him, but the last thing you want to do is build emotional connections, you know?
456번.
Yeah, it's the same numbers, I'm glad. There's a lot of people back, yeah. 187, so they only lost a few. Less than 20.
애 이름도 못 지었다는 여자도 들어왔네요.
And she's back, yeah.
군대처럼 우리끼리 한번 뭉쳐서 해보는 건 어때?
여러 가지 경우를 대비해서 그룹을 형성하는 게 유리할 거야.
Yeah, like in the early stages of stuff, it's good to be part of a team, but that's always going to break down later on.
원래 우리 한 팀으로 꽤 괜찮았잖아.
Okay, so they're joining a team. So we're seeing lots of team ups.
보지 마. 네가 아무리 독해도.
But she has a knife. She could just take him out at any point.
언니 오빠들 말씀 중에 sorry. 이 오빠 잘생겼네. 오빠 나도 좀 껴주라.
Let her join the team. I like her. She's quite fun.
밥 먹까? 침대도 비었는데 밥 먹고 하자.
Yeah, look at how her expression changed so much. And these two are going to talk now.
양아치 새끼.
These two should team up and then join the other team and betray the team from the inside, you know? Yeah, so she's thinking of ways out. But why would she go back if she was just trying to escape? She must be trying to get the money.
아우 이거 차네 밥이. 아우.
You think if they had so much money, they'd be able to afford to give them good food. But that might just be part of the game, feeding them badly to affect their morale.
옛날 생각할 시간 있으면 다음에 무슨 게임 할지나 생각해봐.
He's very focused on the actual game.
어린애들이 하던 놀이 중에 하나가 아니겠어?
Yeah, exactly.
나 그런 거 할 줄 몰라요.
거기에
Yeah, and he doesn't have the experience as a kid. Different games in different countries.
오늘의 일과가 모두 끝났습니다.
You're back with this imagery, the MC Escher.
숙소로 복귀하시기 바랍니다.
Or is this button just going to be how we can, as an audience, see who he is? He's definitely standing out. And there's cameras in the rooms.
화장실만 잠깐 보내달라는데 그게 뭐가 어려워?
So are they, is there like allotted bathroom time?
너 말고 네 위에 책임자 불러. 그 네모난 놈 부르라고 시키야. 씨발 그럼 내가 니들이 정한 시간에만 오줌 마렵냐? 어?
They probably need to do some organizing within the group to
야 싼다.
kind of like a prison, figure out this corner is where you go do your business and whatnot. They are actually going to let her.
조선 놈들은 악을 써야지 그냥 귓구멍이 열려.
But now everyone else is going to hate her as well.
뭐냐?
She's, you know, keeping them all awake is not good for her image. The camera won't see his face from that angle. They're all being monitored, but it's probably not enough to notice. She snuck something in. Okay, so they both snuck something in different ways. Oh, just cigarettes and a lighter, is that it? I thought she would have snuck something in more useful. Although a lighter can be quite useful. And seeing if there's a way to get around in the vents.
시간 좀 끌어줘. 뭔가 알아내면 너도 알려줄 테니까.
Yeah, there's only so much time they can have though. And she needs to be careful not to make any noise up there. She's doing what she can to buy the time. Yeah, she might be going a bit too over the top, but we've seen that kind of fits with her personality, doesn't it? Hopefully 67 heard this. There's, there's a rat. Don't make any noise, yeah.
물 봐, 이 개새끼야!
Ooh.
이제 잠자리에 들 시간입니다. 오늘 하루도
Is he... Are they even allowed a phone in here? He's obviously got to keep it a secret. There must be no service here, right? He should probably go into like airplane mode and stuff so he doesn't get tracked or something. And they just sleep there looking at the money. And he's realised something's up.
냄새가 났어.
무슨 냄새?
설탕 냄새.
Melting sugar. Is this the for the cookies? I've seen that before. The Dalgona cookies, you got to put out the shape.
점검 중입니다. 그대로 무단
28 knows something's up.
그 우유는 없나요? 제가 흰 우유를 못 먹어서요.
He's lactose intolerant. Yeah, there's nothing. He's not going to get any alternative, is he? Yeah, Sungwoo has seen that she's up to something.
이것도 마셔.
That's just because he doesn't like it. You can't drink it. He must know someone working here. How would he have known that that was in there? So he was like searching through it. Yeah, it's just like a playground for kids.
자, 앞에 보이는 네 가지 모양 중
Oh, they choose the shape.
설탕을 녹이고 있었어.
Melting sugar, yeah. So he might know to go for a simpler shape.
지금 즉시 하나를 선택해 이동하시기
And this guy is up to something.
우리 팀 다 같이 움직일까?
No, you don't want to make it obvious that you're in a team.
아직 뭘 시킬지도 모르는데 다 같이 한 곳으로 갔다가 모두 불리해질지도 몰라.
See, is he just doubting that he knows what game it is, or is he keeping it a secret from them?
내가 삼각형으로 갈게.
He's taking the simplest shape for himself.
나해라.
어?
나해라.
Circle.
그럼 별이랑 우산이 남는데.
And Jihan's gonna go for the umbrella because last episode we saw the symbolism with the umbrella with his daughter, you know? Her giving it to him.
기훈이 형. 아니야.
Yeah, see, he knows what it is, but he wants to protect Jihan, but he wants to advance himself as well, I guess. And she's gonna follow him because he figured out what the game was. Look at how Duxu, he just like his body language, he like passive aggressively scraped against the guard, you know?
확인해주세요.
So he knew it was going to be Dalgona, but that doesn't give him too much of an advantage. Yeah, I guess triangle is probably the easiest. Yeah, he's got the umbrella.
모양은 여러분이 뽑아야 할 모양입니다.
Oh, look at that, the dolly zoom. I've got 10 minutes to do it. This is something I want to try because I saw it so much on TikTok, the Dalgona cookies. You've got a little pick as well to break it. But I think they're quite like fragile, right? Because it's like just melted sugar essentially. So I was thinking you could like put it in your mouth to help soften it or something. Yeah, you just got perfectly. And he's just chipping it off bit by bit. A star is quite hard, and he obviously doesn't have much dexterity. Yeah, the umbrella is such a complex shape. Look how much he's panicking though. Yeah, they're watching so closely. Oh, someone broke it.
한 번만 제발 한 번만 더.
On the slide as well for dramatic effect. It's more just the psychological pressure on some of these games, isn't it? They're not even going for like straight headshots, some of them. That one was just like in his chest. It wasn't, that might not have killed them right away. Losing quite a few. Oh, she's using her lighter to burn for it. But other black edge is going to be obvious that she cheated, you know? It's funny seeing the different techniques. He's obviously very nervous, but he's like getting it wet like the old man was to kind of soften the cookie a bit, maybe. And that's it done perfectly. Ooh, is that okay? That little nick there?
199번 성공.
Okay, so that was a pass. So it's not like exactly perfect, but it still has to be pretty good. You know, what if you pass and then just start destroying people's other cookies? Would you be eliminated for cheating, or would it just eliminate the other people?
네. 오늘 임무가 뭐지?
34번.
He doesn't even know.
게임이 끝날 때까지 여기서 대기해. 뭘 착각했는지 그때 들어보지.
He's drawing lots of attention to himself. This guy, 111, he's got a bit of inside help. Inside help from a few people as well. It's not just one person.
218번.
He needs to calm down. You know, the nerves are getting to him. Okay, Sungwoo has passed. What about the old man and Ellie? Ellie's passed as well, yeah. We did see that. Okay, sweat help soften and dissolve it. Oh, we can see what bits are thinnest. Yeah, it's just melting in the heat. Okay, yeah, that's working quite well. I feel like she has to get caught at some point. And then she eats it to hide the evidence.
4번 성공.
Oh, she's helping him. But he's not in a good position like she was to be able to melt it without being seen. That's so close. Everyone else is going to see his technique. Or they will just think he's weird. What a funny music choice. Yeah, it's an absurd situation, you know, they're making it comedic. I'd probably lick it to soften it and then go back in with the pick. Oh, and he did it. That's difficult for him with his, you know, his hands are shaking quite a bit. Right down to the minute, yeah, down to the millisecond. He needs to break it out of the shape. Look at all the sweat on his back. Now or never.
456번 성공.
손을 치우세요.
It's broken. But like, if you broke it without the person seeing, could you hold it up to them holding it together at the broken spot? Ooh, fighting back, yeah.
이런 똑같은 게임이 어딨어? 누굴 왜?
Are they just gonna open fire, not care about their own person? They're all the people who were out anyway, right? Yeah, look at this, in this like child's playground but dripping with blood.
가면 벗어. 빨리 벗어.
This is a square one as well, so he's a bit higher up, right?
뒤로 돌아.
He just wants to see who it is, the type of person to do this.
너같이 어린 놈이 왜 이렇게 된 거야?
He's not allowed to talk though, is he? Yeah, so he's quite young for being a square helmet one. Oh, wow. Just for taking off his helmet?
29번. 끝날 때까지 여기서 대기해. 뭘 착각했는지 그때 들어보지.
Oh, he's gonna assume his personality? Ah. Okay, so that was Squid Game episode 3, the Dalgona cookie episode. Of course, I'd seen the Dalgona cookies all over the internet. It was this craze at the time because the show was a craze. So I'd obviously seen that before and seen people try it themselves on TikTok. It is something I want to try. But you know, even though I'd seen the game, I didn't know how it was going to go. There's still characters I'm invested in now who were at risk here. You know, I do think that Jihan is going to win this whole thing just because he's kind of like our main character, our audience surrogate from the first episode. That doesn't mean I'm not still invested in these other characters, and these other characters might not necessarily die, especially with everything going on with this police officer who's infiltrating, and we're seeing some backroom dealings here with 111. He has like some inside information with a few of these guards as well. So it feels like there could be a situation where we have a winner, but we still have some characters that we know who are still alive at the end of the show. I do feel like a lot of these characters I still haven't learnt their names, so I'm just going by the numbers for them. Like 67, I don't think I've had her name in the show yet, but I don't want to look it up just in case I run into any spoilers. And then even this police officer, I'm just going to refer to him as 29 because he was the 29th guard, right? And we see at the end he picks up this helmet which was a square face, right? and the square faces, they have more authority. So if he assumes his personality, he can have even more authority here and he won't be questioned as much. And I think the square face that was killed, I think that was also the guy who said he wanted to talk to him, because obviously he's standing out a bit. He doesn't really know everything that's happening, and he's just like standing out a bit from the other guards who are like clocked on to everything that's happening and know exactly what they're doing. He's made a few slip ups here, hasn't he? Even number 28, the guy who was in the room next to him, you see he was paying attention to him. He realized something was off. He noticed the kind of suspicious behavior of 29, but now that he has a square mask, it could be good for him. He can dig deeper, learn even more information. Maybe he doesn't have to answer to as many people. He doesn't have as many eyes on him, so that's really interesting. Yeah, he's just like a really interesting plot point here, and I'm wondering how it's going to manifest later on. You know, is there going to be a situation where like he has to kill someone, or there's a situation where one of our characters has lost, we think they're going to die, and then he refuses to because, oh, it was 29, the undercover police officer the whole time. There's a lot of interesting scenarios that can occur there, and it gives us an insight into all of the stuff happening in the background. This isn't just from the player's perspective, we're getting the guard's perspective as well, and we're getting a bit of the even higher ups perspective as well. The guy with the black mask, that's like more face-like, right? He made an appearance for like the first time this time, like where he's not just like in the back rooms, he like killed someone himself, I'm guessing to like set an example. And we've seen they are very strict with the rules. So 29, he has got lucky so far, really. That one guy, he took off his mask even though he was being threatened. He still got killed because of that. So this episode, we got a bit of a team up. Jihan, Sunwoo, Ali, and number 1, the old man. They've all joined this little group. The group, it didn't come much into play this episode, but later on it might. And it's good to be in a group early on in the game. But as I've said, later on, it can cause problems because you're in a group, say you're in a group of 4, only 3 people can advance, there's going to be conflict within the group and infighting. So it's a good idea early on to get that upper hand, but later on it's going to cause some problems, I think. And we're seeing the same with Doksu and 212 when she was given the lighter. So they're kind of teaming up a little bit here, and 212 and 67 have teamed up a bit. But 67 is still kind of keeping her distance, isn't she? She was more using 212 to gain access than she was actually teaming up with her. So 67, she got to look around a little bit, but it wasn't like a huge amount, but that does open the door for her to look around even more later on, if she can get back into the toilets or find other vents to climb through. And we did see it lingered on one of the bolts being loose, so I'm wondering, is that going to come back up again? Is that going to open up and one of the guards are going to find it, or is it just showing that she's kind of lazy? Not exactly lazy, but she isn't like paying attention. She was rushed and didn't tighten it up properly, so there's loose ends being left, so that could leave the door open for that. You know, everyone's trying to get any advantage they can. She's trying to see what games are next, or just gather as much information as possible. Sungwoo is trying to figure out what the next games are going to be. Then there's 111 who just has like a few insiders working for him for some reason, and he was taken back into some other place. So I'm wondering where they led him and why some of the guards will be working with him, because it is, we've seen, quite risky from their part to be working and disobeying these orders. So what does 111 have over all of these people, or like why are they helping him out, you know? And then we see with 212, she gives the lighter to Doksu, but that does mean he kind of owes her. So, you know, you could see it as working together, but you could also see it as owing favors. So she's done this and now he owes her, so she's going to try and get that favor repaid to her at some point. That's something she can like hold against him a bit now. And you know, it's quite early on, so although the stakes are high, you know, the stakes are people dying, I feel like the stakes for the people we know, they're not that high yet. Like, no one we personally know has died this episode, but as the show progresses, the emotional stakes are going to have to rise and rise. So the people that we know, the named people, they're going to be at more and more risk as we go on. And then Doksu, he feels like a bit of a wild card at this point. If it was like later on in one of the later games, maybe he's going to betray or try and trip up one of the characters we know and we love. So they're setting him up to be like this bit of an antagonist, aren't they? So So we have antagonists in the game and antagonists out the game as well. There's a lot of layers here, you know? And we see within the group already Sung-woo, he is withholding information. He had already figured out that it was Dalgona cookies, but he hadn't told the rest of them, and he himself went for the easiest shape. But he obviously does feel some guilt because he was about to tell Jihan, but he decided not to. So I'm wondering, maybe there'll be some guilt building up here with him. I could imagine this kind of emotional climax where Jihan has been like really building him up and really praising Sung-woo, and then Sung-woo is gonna like break down saying, you know, I'm not this person that you think I am. I've done all of this fraud. I betrayed you during this game. It's lucky that he's even still alive, you know? It's lucky that Jihan is alive. Then I'm wondering if Jihan will get any praise because he came up with like the licking technique, and that saved quite a few people around him, it seems. So I'm wondering if any of those will like thank him, like, oh, we copied you and we managed to survive. I'm wondering if he will get like a bit of a reputation. And I'm wondering if 212 will gain a reputation because she was keeping everyone up at night saying, I need to go to the toilet, and then was about to like pee on the floor. It feels almost like a prison system, doesn't it? Where there's infighting and there's lots of opportunity for backstabbing and things like that, and just the kind of environment they're in is like a prison, right? So there's like deals and everything going on, so it is like a prison. And there's a few like questions that have been answered, like how do they go to the toilet? Well, they're led there, and there's guards. I'm assuming there's like a shower situation as well, and we've seen like how they get fed, and the stuff they're being fed isn't great. You know, the living conditions aren't great, but I think that is almost part of the game, part of the mental game that's being played on them here as well. You know, it makes them more and more desperate to get out of this situation, and it puts more of a mental strain on them, making the games even harder. And you know, some of these games, they are quite simple, but when you have the stress of your life being on the line, that's what makes it interesting. That's what makes it so difficult. You know, even if you're great at something, when your life is on the line, it becomes so much more difficult. You know, I consider myself like quite good at Mario Kart, but if my life was on the line, I would start doubting my own skill. Like, why would... I mean, like, who wouldn't? No matter how good you are, you would start to doubt your own skill when your life is on the line like that. We also learned this whole thing is taking place on an island, which is really interesting. So, of course, it makes it harder for escape. And then there might be some, like, legal loopholes they can work around here, saying it's like on international water rather than it's in Korea, because this is obviously, this game is breaking like Korean laws. But if it's on like a privately owned island that doesn't have to adhere to certain laws, then they might be able to get away with some of this. And I guess it makes it a bit harder to track as well, because 29, he's here on this island, but he has no idea where this island is now, right? You know, he was obviously on the boat, but I don't think he has any way to know his current location. So even if he gets off the island, can he actually track this island down and bring law enforcement to here? And would law enforcement even have jurisdiction over this island? So it's obvious that the people running the game have this all well thought out and well figured out, right? And then with 29, we also saw at one point he was like on his phone, and he was just like in the notes app taking notes. I'm imagining that there's no signal here, so he can't contact the outside world, but I'm also hoping he's like put it on airplane mode and everything so they can't track him on the island, because they might be able to see like, hey, there's this phone signal, none of the guards are supposed to have phones, one of them has a phone, what's going on here? So him having this phone is quite dangerous, isn't it? So yeah, I think that's everything for this episode. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, consider leaving a like or a comment, and if you really loved it, be sure to subscribe so you can keep up to date for all the future uploads. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.